Guys, this is Adam Shadow, and today I have for you another amazing machine. This behind me is the ultimate storage system, which I developed for the Palla server. I'm here on the Palla creative server, so I have access to various different tools such as carpet mode. Here are also some of my failed attempts for this machine, and also some new stuff which will maybe be in the next video. So let me explain what this actually is and why I called it the ultimate storage system. This is pretty much a design for storage made out of two parts. The main one is this one I'm pointing at, this large one. This is the part that filters shulker boxes. Here on top is a shulker box filter. Here the items are transported, and here the shulker boxes full of those items are transported. As you can see, all of this is pretty much as lag friendly as possible. You can also lock all of these hoppers. That's why these pistons here and here are, and also here, this one. Currently it's unlocked. It works very simple. This is a design that was shown quite a while ago by Raceworks. When you put here your standard equipment for item filter and use this kind of setup, he used it in a different format. I think he made it a bit larger. What you basically get when an item goes through here, it will unlock this hopper and send the shulker box into this chest. The problem is that we always lose one item. However, when you have so many items that you need many double chests of shulker boxes of them, it's probably not an issue whatsoever, and it will be really complicated to make something that will actually insert the item back into the shulker box, because then you would need a shulker box loader somewhere around here. So take this pipe and send the item here, which is extremely complicated and probably unnecessary, so I just fired into lava. Now we have this diagonal pipe of hoppers and double chests. This is the actual part where the items are stored. We have 8 double chests here, which are all fed by hoppers, which are currently locked using this weird torch tower. What happens is that normally you will fill up this large chest here on top. But when you take out one item for this system here, I will explain that later, the machine unlocks these hoppers so that not just one box can get down there, but several of them. Therefore, you can basically use this pipe as a storage by simply assuming that the input is similarly fast to the output, or at least, I don't know, I think this is 3 times or 4 times faster. So like, if you load 4 shulker boxes here, you just need to take out 1 from here to fill up this thing. Now, the second special aspect of this storage, you may have already guessed from some of my previous videos, I'm using here the instant rail lines or instant wires using rails. The reason for that is that these droppers will form a pipe through many slices of this. This is of course one-way tileable. And then when you activate this logic gate here, you will be able to send items from one of these slices instantly towards the player. This system has the advantage compared to some of my previous designs. Here you can see this design which displays shulker boxes. You would have to have a lot of those sorters and fillers behind this, and you would only have access to 6 of these boxes, 3 on one side, 3 on the other. This one here is even more advanced. This one has 8, which is really uncomfortable to use sometimes. You can still access them, but when you want to take out more shulker boxes, I think you have to jump, and also here it's really weird because when this box gets broken, it's sent to this hopper, yeah, and stuff like that. Basically a lot of issues you have to face when you are just using something like a chest hole. In this case, it's not a chest hole. This is a shulker box display hole. This was also inspired by Raceworks, who used, I think, this bottom part here. I just invented some new designs for the top, which works in a simple way. When you take out all of these blocks, the box gets broken and a new one gets put in, or you can just break the box itself. But that's a bit more difficult, especially down here. So what I decided to do is, instead of making a huge hallway, because this machine is supposed to work for all items in game that are stackable, so it's, I think, something like 690 or 700 pretty much in 1.12. So I came up with this design. This is just a half of it, of course, and here we have 6 different items per slice you can access. However, these are just buttons, and when you would activate one of these buttons, you would activate this logic gate and allow these boxes to travel towards the player. And basically the player would have something like one of these display cells. So as soon as you would break one or take one out, it would replace it. Currently this one is empty. So I can demonstrate. It doesn't have to be this exact design. Yeah. So you just stand, break one, get a new one. So you basically get as many items as you want. Of course it will be a bit more ergonomic than that one. However, this design was also not perfect, since I cut the entire hallway down to something like 66 blocks, but that's still a lot. Like, running through a 66 block hallway full of these buttons would still take many seconds, probably even a minute, to find something. So I took some advice from a fellow prototype member, Smudger, and he explained to me a design that would be even more compact. It would simply just have something like this, a place where you would stand. Here you would have chests all around you. Those would be filled with different items, like one of those types, like for example here would be grass, stone, wood, or something like that. Then you would take out one of them, throw it into the hopper below, and then it would simply travel through a system of filters, which would then detect into which slice the item went, and then basically do the same thing as with the buttons. This way we only have this tiny square or whatever this is of chests instead of a huge hallway. Of course, we would have to somehow mark out which chests had what, but it's way more ergonomic, way faster to find what you need inside something like this one instead of a huge long hallway. For example, the even binary coded chest halls are way worse than this. So you probably heard of them. Those are things people designed to fit in more chests into around the player, but I don't think they even reached 12 per slice. I think it was like 10 or something like that at most, and those are still chests of items, so it would be still a really long design. So to make this work, we need something like this part over here, which are the array of sorters. Yeah, sorters basically. When an item would go through on this ice, it would go into the hopper that it corresponds to. Let's say I throw in some orange wool. Oh, okay. I have this locked. Okay. Let's say I throw in one orange wool. It throws it out at the bottom. This is a little trick. It basically uses this dropper to update this one. Here we would also need a full water stream, not just this, but you get the point. Here we have the locking mechanism, because as I mentioned, this needs to be the perfect storage system, so we want as little lag as possible in it. This is the old design. Here at the bottom of this machine we have the newer one. Here I just use one of these instant rail lines. I also forgot to add some water here. That doesn't matter. It's the same idea pretty much as you saw there. Here we have this repeater, because I needed to shift this one block, so this entire logic circuit here fits in. Then I also added a very important part, and it is a resetting mechanism. Because let's say I activate one of these. Now whenever a signal goes through this rail here, it would fire out one full shulker box of this item type. However, the machine does not remember which slice is activated. So I needed to add this part here. So once a signal goes through this second rail line, it would reset this slice. Let's show me. Yeah, and now when it's turned off, I can send as many signals as I want. So there are as few activations as possible here. Here you can see also the nice delay for the hoppers. Yeah, and here instead of the water stream I just use a dropper pipe, so it's instant, so you don't need to wait for the item to reset. Another important thing which I measured back there, items on ice move pretty much exactly 11 meters per second, so it's also important to remember that I can't just build 700 of these in a row, because then it would take like 70 seconds or so, maybe 60 seconds for the item to go through, which would still be acceptable. Like, you can certainly work with that, but it's much better to just split it into parts, because the chests there are split into parts. Like, you don't have one massive chest, you have like 20 of them. So setting up like 54 of these next to each other, and then let's say one tile gap, and then another 54 of them, will make the travel time of the items manageable. It will be some 6 seconds or 5 seconds at most, and you get your items. If you think about it, it takes you probably way longer to run through a long hallway that's like 100 blocks long than 6 seconds. So this is a huge advancement. Another thing you might have noticed about this part, this weird block sticking out of here, this is just so I can see how wide it is, so we can nicely tile it next to each other. So, because the closer together these parts are, the less pipes we need. So now let's go to the second part. This is the part for basically the player input. What is the player input? It's basically you as a player coming next to some sort of chest or water stream or something like that, and throwing the stuff out of your inventory in it, which are not full shulker boxes. This design right here will take out the items through this filter. This is a double speed filter. It will send them into this dropper, and now you can choose what to do with this. You could either use this for very rare items, like let's say emerald ore, which you will probably never gather full shulker boxes of, or you can simply load this into boxes. For that we need to replace this block with a dispenser. Like this, and fill that with boxes. It's still like only like 9 boxes. You could then try to figure out something different, like how to lock this hopper and stuff like that. This type of setup will be probably very, very rare, so you don't really need to bother with it. You don't really need to care about this locking mechanism here. So you can just have a hopper pipe going down, filling in the shulker boxes. Well, like I mentioned, you can just remove all of this and just have a chest, and for example stand here and just look at it, or remove, of course, this part. It's redundant. But if you load it into the boxes, as I mentioned, here there is a hopper line, which would basically transport the full boxes out of this slice into this main part, into this filter. So you can basically choose what you want to do. You can either go like only one type and just store all of the items you have a lot of. You could go 50-50 or something like that, and just store half of the items using the player input. Or you could just completely ignore the player input for the not rare items, like I plan to do on Prototype, since we can farm almost everything, and the stuff we can't farm is really, really rare. So we will just use this setup with the filter and a chest here. and probably without this dropper, and have it like an additional bar next to the user interface right here. We also planned in the past to use something like this as a user interface, but this had the problem with the item travel on the ice, so we just used it like that. Also, something I wanted to talk about, and that is the use of chests with binary coding is a really bad idea, because you need a storage system like I would have here, but instead of just storing full boxes of items, you would have to store it somehow 50-50 or something like that, with having a part of the chest filled with boxes and a part with items, which is insanely complicated to do, probably unreliable, and you probably be forced into using two storage systems to do the stuff for one, with having no advantage in the interface, as I mentioned previously. Like here I have 8 boxes per slice. You could probably fit like 10 chests, and it would give you absolutely nothing, and you would probably not even be able to make it as lag friendly as this one, because this has 0 unlocked hoppers. It's not doing anything when it's turned off. You can turn it off using these lines of rails here. They are super useful, and I wasn't even nearly mentioning it enough in my video about these. These things are extremely overpowered, because you can transport signal very quickly, you can use them for dropper lines, and you can use them for stuff like this when you want to lock machines without causing lag. So here in this unlocked state, we just have this hopper here, which is covered, and this, and yeah, these two here. That's it for the entire machine. Which, if you think back at my overpowered storage system, it basically had like the same, but it was way smaller. It had not these features, and it also had other disadvantages, such as these hoppers that are unlocked being full. These hoppers are pretty much always empty, unless items are flowing through. Then you have like one item here or one box. It's not like a full hopper, because a full hopper pointed into a full double chest, and I think another full double chest above it is like insanely laggy. It's like 1,000 times more laggy than just an empty hopper with nothing around it. Yeah, so that's probably about it for this machine. Maybe here I can mention this little clock I made for this filter here. So when this is triggered, here this clock is activated, which I find a really nice design. Yeah, and also here this piston extends, and then this extends, goes back for the placement of the shulker boxes. I think I had here something like sand on top. Yeah. So when you trigger this, yeah, you could see that just activated it. And also dispense a new box. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye!